Update. Proceedings of the 29th session of the sham trial of HE Dr. Riek Machar and 7 other SPLM/AIO detainees, Juba, December 10, 2025. The politically motivated court, known as the Special Court on Nasir Incident, established by the SPLM-IG to try first Vice President HE Dr. Riek Machar Teni Durgan, Chairman and Commander-in-Chief of the SPLM/AIO, along with 7 other senior movement detainees, held its 29th session today at Freedom Hall. During today's session, the defense team concluded its cross-examination of Major Peter Manuel Deng, the prosecution's first witness and a member of the so-called South Sudan People's Defense Forces, SSPDF, investigation committee on the Nasir incident. The prosecution witness was questioned about his claim that HE Dr. Riek Machar had failed to condemn the Nasir incident. The defense pointed out that on March 3, 2025, a joint press conference was held between the SPLM-IO and SPLM-IG. At the conference, the Ministers of Petroleum and Information, Honorable Pute Kenag Cole and Honorable Michael Makwe Luth, respectively, briefed the public on the incident and condemned it. The prosecution witness claimed he was not aware of this event. The defense further pressed the witness on the lack of direct evidence against Dr. Machar. Major Peter acknowledged that the committee had no audio or video evidence showing Dr. Machar directly ordering the attack on the SSPDF garrison or the killing of General David Major Dak and his soldiers. The defense also inquired about Dr. Machar's role in coordinating with the UN mission regarding the evacuation plan for Major General David Major and other stranded SSPDF soldiers. The witness denied knowing this, claiming the presidency coordinated the evacuation, although Dr. Machar was consulted due to Nasir being under SPLA-IO control. The SPLM/AIO maintains its rejection of the so-called Special Court, viewing it as a tool to undermine the revitalized agreement and pursue a political witch hunt against Dr. Riek Machar and the SPLM/AIO. The movement demands the immediate and unconditional release of Dr. Riek Machar and all SPLM/AIO detainees. CDE. Phuc Both Baluang. Deng similarly denied knowledge of Dr. Machar's payment of a ransom for 24 SSPDF soldiers captured by the armed youth at a rate of $500 per person, as well as Machar's provision of food and water to Major and his forces in Wekuridu after the White Army's takeover. The witness claimed the soldiers survived on garrison chickens and water from a vehicle radiator, dismissing these facts. When asked if the committee had interviewed Major's family, Deng again responded negatively. The defense further inquired whether Dr. Machar, concerned about Major's welfare, had directed Nasir Commissioner Honorable James Gatluak Liu to procure medicine for Major's hypertension. Deng denied knowledge of this. The defense noted that Major lost his phone during the March 3 clashes and that Dr. Machar instructed the Nasir Commissioner to purchase an analog Nokia phone for Major's communication with his command in Bilpam and his family. Deng claimed ignorance of this detail. The defense also questioned why the committee in its presented evidence had not included videos of evacuated SSPDF soldiers praising Dr. Machar's role in rescuing them. The court objected to this line of questioning. The prosecution witness was also asked if the SSPDF committee was in contact with the chief investigator, Major General Thomas Basilio Wani, to which he replied negatively. Later, the defense inquired about the testimonies of the 5 surviving bodyguards of General Major, who were evacuated to Malakal. The witness confirmed they had been questioned and that their testimonies would be presented as evidence in upcoming sessions. When challenged about his testimony on the $58 million in abandoned military equipment during the SSPDF's withdrawal from Nasir, Deng reacted angrily, stating, "They abandoned the weapons because you attacked them." The defense requested the court to instruct the witness to be mindful of his remarks, and Deng later apologized. After cross-examination, the prosecution re-examined Major Peter Manuel Deng, arguing that Dr. Machar's authority as SPLA-IO commander-in-chief made him responsible for the Nasir incident. He claimed that Dr. Riek Machar formed a committee on March 1, 2025, to oversee SSPDF movements in Nasir, and that this committee included White Army Commander Torgile Thoen and his deputy, Kang Makana, who led the second attack. Major Deng cited video evidence showing Kong Makana and Nasir County Commissioner Honorable James Gatluak Lu declaring their alignment with Dr. Machar and the SPLA-IO. He also presented footage of the late Torgile Thoen allegedly briefing the armed youth and outlining the attack plan on the SSBDF garrison. The prosecution witness argued that these actions demonstrated command responsibility, stating that only a commander could authorize such operations without being physically present. The presiding judge, Justice James Alala Deng, stated that the witness's testimony required further review. The sham court adjourned and will reconvene on Friday, December 12th, when the judicial panel is expected to question Major Peter Manuel Deng directly. The SPLM/AIO maintains its rejection of the so-called special court, viewing it as a tool to undermine the revitalized agreement and pursue a political witch hunt against Dr. Riek Machar and the SPLM/AIO. The movement demands the immediate and unconditional release of Dr. Riek Machar and all SPLM/AIO detainees. December 11th, 2025, Washington, D.C. The United States on Thursday accused the government of South Sudan of exploiting foreign assistance while obstructing humanitarian efforts and violating international obligations. A statement by the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of African Affairs warned that if these actions are not stopped, there will be a comprehensive review of U.S. aid to the country, with the likelihood of substantial reductions. In a strongly worded statement titled, "Time to Stop Taking Advantage of the United States," the U.S. contends that South Sudanese authorities have imposed illicit costs on humanitarian shipments and obstructed United Nations peacekeeping operations. The South Sudanese transitional government continues to impose illicit costs on those trying to help its people, most recently by imposing exorbitant fees on humanitarian shipments and by obstructing UN peacekeeping operations. These actions constitute egregious violations of South Sudan's international obligations. The statement reads in part, "We call on the transitional government to halt these actions immediately. If it does not, the United States will initiate a comprehensive review of our foreign assistance in South Sudan with the likelihood of making significant reductions." The statement also faulted South Sudan's leaders for denying any responsibility for the humanitarian crisis in their country while calling for ever-increasing donor funding. Now, Sunday Dajon is challenging the ongoing court trial that's manipulating the people's right by depending the government interest instead of people's right.
This idea that Riek killed Majur is a wrong explanation. Me, I don't subscribe to Riek. I don't agree with a lot of his principles. But justice is not supposed to be blind to see the realities that are happening on the ground. Riek was not in Nasser. By law, he is not a murderer.
Yes.
Even if he was to have the intent to do that, he didn't do it. First, he liaised with his people, and Majur Dak was to be picked after he was realized he sustained bullet wounds during the clashes. Now the aircraft went there, and Majur Dak also portrayed the highest level of patriotism and leadership by saying that the aircraft is small, cannot take all of us at once. So take my soldiers and pick me tomorrow. If he was picked on that particular day, he would not be dead now. And that means Riek was not having intention that he could have an afterthought later when Majur remained behind because of his choice of leadership to take away his men first before himself, selflessness, to now think that I should kill Majur. So the arrest of Dr. Riek is politically motivated. I can say it, and I am not ashamed, simply because it is true. It's politically motivated, and the ongoing trial was kangaroo at the onset from the angle of Gangake, who drafted wrong charges, quoting wrong articles, bringing them to the court. That is a shame to the president. And that is why I've been calling that late president relieve himself from shame by releasing Riek. There is nothing to lose being a man of peace. President has portrayed this before. He has forgiven so many people that have done wrong. So why would he not do this for the case of Riek? And I call for his release for a number of reasons. Riek could be a culprit, but he is a force to reckon with. He is somebody with a huge following. With his absent in the leadership now, nobody is cautioning the perpetrators of conflict at the peripheries. If we really want peace, release them. The government of South Sudan, like John Garang said in 2005, that my father's house has so many rooms. It can accommodate all of us. South Sudan is so big, and even if it was to be war of resources, there are a lot of resources that nobody can die because we are competing over that. So the Nasser incident was bad. I condemned it in totality because it has led to the death of our people. Whether the actors as aggressors or the army itself, we are losers in double.
Yes.
That is not something we can support. But the aftermath that led to the arrest of leaders is not going to help the country. The country is supposed to be peaceful, and that can open up the path to progress.
Yes.
I can reason along this, but because of the length of time, we